Have you ever heard of Jean-Bédel Bokassa? Well, Jean-Bédel Bokassa was a military officer and politician from the Central African Republic who served as president from 1966 to 1976, and later as self-proclaimed emperor from 1976 to 1979. He was known for his authoritarian nature and organized an extravagant coronation as emperor, which was criticized for its high cost and extravagance. Nothing wrong with loving luxury, but Bokassa has them all. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and be the first to know when there is a new video. Bokassa seized power in a military coup in 1966, overthrowing President David Dacko. He was later overthrown in a coup d'état in 1979, following allegations of corruption and human rights violations. After his ouster, Bokassa fled to France, where he lived in exile until 1986, when he was allowed to return to the Central African Republic. He was later put on trial and convicted of murder and other crimes, though his sentence was later reduced. Bokassa died in 1996. Jean-Bédel Bokassa self-proclaimed himself Emperor of the Central African Republic on December 4, 1976, during an extravagant ceremony in the capital city of Bangui. He crowned himself emperor, wearing a ermine cape, a golden crown, and a scepter. His coronation was widely criticized for its high cost, extravagance, and authoritarian character, and it contributed to Bokassa's growing unpopularity among the Central African Republic's population and the international community. There is a strong evidence to suggest that Jean-Bédel Bokassa, the former leader of the Central African Republic, was indeed obsessed with Napoleon Bonaparte. Bokassa, who declared himself Emperor of the Central African Empire in 1976, modeled his reign after Napoleon's, adopting many of the French emperor's symbols and practices. For example, Bokassa wore a gold-embroidered imperial uniform modeled on that of Napoleon and had a coronation ceremony that was similar to Napoleon's coronation as Emperor of France. He also had a replica of Napoleon's carriage, which he used for official processions. Bokassa was known to be a collector of Napoleonic memorabilia, and his personal collection included items such as a sword, a hat, and a snuff box that had belonged to Napoleon. He also named several streets and buildings in the Central African Republic after Napoleon and other French imperial figures. Bokassa's obsession with Napoleon has been attributed to his desire to emulate the French emperor's perceived strength and greatness. However, his attempts to model his reign after Napoleon's were criticized by many, both inside and outside of the Central African Republic, and ultimately contributed to his downfall. Jean-Bédel Bokassa was betrayed by his longtime friend Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, the president of France at the time, but the French government denied it as a betrayal. Instead, they argued that Jean-Bédel Bokassa's regime was responsible for numerous human rights abuses and acts of violence. During his time in power, Bokassa was accused of ordering the killing of political opponents and of using brutal tactics to suppress dissent. Human rights organizations have also accused his regime of torture, arbitrary detention, and forced labor. Bokassa was accused of the killing of school children who had protested against his regime. The exact number of children killed in this incident is not known, but estimates range from 100 to over 600. In fact, Giscard d'Estaing was instrumental in Bokassa's downfall. In 1979, Bokassa was facing growing opposition from his own people and the international community over his authoritarian rule, human rights abuses, and extravagant spending. The French government, led by Giscard d'Estaing, saw an opportunity to remove Bokassa from power and replace him with a more moderate leader who would be more amenable to French interests. In September 1979, French commandos, with the support of African troops, launched a military operation to remove Bokassa from power. Bokassa was arrested and replaced by David Dacko, who had been overthrown by Bokassa in a coup in 1966. Giscard d'Estaing defended the French intervention, arguing that it was necessary to prevent further bloodshed and instability in the Central African Republic. The operation was criticized by some as a neo-colonial move by France to maintain its influence in its former colony. When French forces overthrew Jean-Bédel Bokassa, the leader of the Central African Republic, in 1979, they installed David Dacko, who had previously been overthrown by Bokassa in a coup in 1966, as the new president. The French intervention was codenamed Operation Barracuda and involved around 600 French paratroopers, supported by African troops. Following Bokassa's ouster, the new government launched an investigation into his regime's alleged human rights abuses and corruption. Bokassa himself was put on trial and was ultimately convicted of a range of charges, including murder, embezzlement, and cannibalism. He was sentenced to death, although his sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment. Dako's presidency was marked by political instability, and he was overthrown in a coup in 1981 by his own army chief, André Kalingba. Kalingba subsequently ruled the country for over a decade, during which time he faced significant opposition from pro-democracy activists and civil society groups. There have been allegations that former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing received diamonds as a gift from Jean-Bédel Bokassa, the former leader of the Central African Republic. These allegations were made in a book by French journalist Pierre Pien, titled Affaires Africaines, African Affairs, which was published in 1993. According to Pien's book, Giscard d'Estaing received a gift of diamonds worth around $500,000 from Bokassa during a visit to the Central African Republic in 1979. Giscard d'Estaing has denied these allegations, and there has never been any concrete evidence to support them. Bokassa in an interview repeatedly stated that Giscard d'Estaing has received several times diamonds from him that he now claimed fake. There are no evidence of these allegations, just speculations, but who knows? Let's talk about Mrs. Bokassa. There have been rumors and allegations of a romantic relationship between former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing and Catherine Bokassa, the wife of former Central African Republic leader Jean-Bédel Bokassa. These rumors first emerged in the 1980s, after Giscard d'Estaing had left office, but they have never been proven. But Bokassa made some troubling revelations about his wife and the former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. What a sad story. Please subscribe and get the notification activated. We have more videos coming up about some world leaders that will surprise you and some story you never heard of. According to some reports, Giscard d'Estaing and Catherine Bokassa met while he was still in office, and she was serving as the Central African Republic's ambassador to UNESCO in Paris. The rumors suggest that they had an affair, which continued after Bokassa was ousted from power in 1979. Giscard d'Estaing has denied the allegations of an affair, and Catherine Bokassa has also denied any romantic involvement with the former French president. However, some critics have pointed to Giscard d'Estaing's close relationship with African leaders like Bokassa as evidence of France's neocolonial relationships with its former colonies. However, the allegations have contributed to broader concerns about France's role in Africa and its relationship with its former colonies. Critics have accused France of maintaining neocolonial relationships with its former colonies, including the Central African Republic, and of supporting authoritarian leaders like Bokassa in order to maintain its influence in the region. According to some reports, Giscard d'Estaing and Catherine Bokassa met while he was still in office, and she was serving as the Central African Republic's ambassador to UNESCO in Paris. The rumors suggest that they had an affair, which continued after Bokassa was ousted from power in 1979. Giscard d'Estaing has denied the allegations of an affair, and Catherine Bokassa has also denied any romantic involvement with the former French president. However, some critics have pointed to Giscard d'Estaing's close relationship with African leaders like Bokassa as evidence of France's neocolonial relationships with its former colonies. Meanwhile, Catherine Bokassa, the wife of former Central African Republic leader Jean-Bédel Bokassa, got pregnant, and guess who was the father? The former French president Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. He denied any romantic relationship between him and Catherine Bokassa, and these claims have never been proven, so he will not pay child support to Bokassa? Just kidding. But both parties have denied any such involvement. The allegations of a pregnancy and child born from this supposed relationship appear to be unfounded and lack any credible evidence according to what they said, but Bokassa confirmed the romantic relationship between them, and he claimed that Catherine Bokassa even cheated on the former French president Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. In an interview with French newspaper Le Monde in 2010, Catherine Bokassa stated that she had never had a romantic relationship with Giscard d'Estaing or any other French official, but who was the father? You guess. The big question is, has the Central African Republic got better after Bokassa? Let's see if French democracy has been successful in the Central African Republic. Well, the Central African Republic has faced many challenges in the years since Jean-Bédel Bokassa was ousted from power in 1979. While there have been some periods of stability and progress, the country has also experienced political instability, violence, and economic difficulties. After Bokassa was removed from power, the Angels of Peace left and the country went through a period of political transition, with a series of governments and military regimes. In 1981, President André Kalinga seized power in a military coup and ruled the country until 1993. During this period, the country faced a number of economic challenges, including high inflation, shortages of basic goods, and a decline in public services. In 1993, the country held its first multi-party elections, which brought President Félix Pétasse to power. Pétasse's government faced a number of challenges, including a series of coup attempts and rebellions. In 2003, a rebel group known as the Union of Democratic Forces for Unity launched an offensive against the government, leading to a period of violence and instability. The conflict eventually ended with the deployment of a UN peacekeeping mission in 2007. The next video will be on Pétasse, who in 1999 won a controversial election amidst accusations of fraud and overthrown in another coup by François Bozizé, and that was the beginning of an unrest and factional fighting. Many fled the country, particularly to Chad. Bozizé's government thought he could trust French government to back him, and surprisingly, he was widely accused of a misappropriation of state funds, forcing Bozizé to flee into exile. Another story. Please subscribe and thank for watching.